Women of the United States Army Auxiliary Corps, a volunteer organization recruited to relieve men for combat duty, now become a part of the regular Army. Before their commander, Colonel Hobby, they take the oath of allegiance as regular soldiers. Serving in hundreds of jobs, such as chauffeurs and cooks, telephone operators and typists, they're relieving thousands of men for service at the front. And here's the first contingent to arrive in England, the largest unit of women ever sent overseas. Here they'll staff training centers, man airports and control stations, and like all women, their first thought is to make themselves at home. Their first leave in a new land is a great adventure. They tour the beautiful English countryside, and at an historic manor house, they're introduced to a famous English custom, afternoon tea. British hospitality for America's service women overseas. In Hollywood studios, an army of skilled technicians produce hundreds of motion pictures every year. Today, the great studios work not only to supply entertainment to people at home, but have dedicated their resources to the armed forces wherever they serve. Army units assigned to making training films and to photograph action at the front learn camera technique from studio experts. In laboratories and cutting rooms, men in uniform are preparing their own productions. They study training films made by the industry and films made by their own signal corps. Whether it's how to put on a gas mask or how to handle a gun, everything is covered in Army motion pictures. The latest feature pictures, made for theaters, are reduced to 16mm size for showings at Army camps at home and overseas. Every week, Army planes transport 150 features, some 200 newsreels and short subjects to fighting forces around the world. In recreation centers, stars such as Ann Miller and Linda Darnell, John Garfield and Betty Davis are helping entertain servicemen. Lovely Greer Garson, little Judy Garland, beautiful Hedy Lamarr, popular Betty Grable. At home and abroad, people of the motion picture industry are trying to do their bit for fighting men of the United Nations. In Canada, at the famous fish hatchery of San Jovita, Quebec, game wardens sort and grade hundreds of thousands of young trout to replenish mountain streams and lakes. Airplanes are used to reach remote bodies of water. Taking the fish aloft, they restock the lakes, dropping the trout from the air. First customers, French-Canadian soldiers home on leave. This is any soldier's idea of a well-earned vacation from the war. There's a 5-pound trout on that line, and they land him like veteran fishermen. A real meal, this, right out of the water. A regiment of Filipino infantry in the United States Army receives the one weapon they know best, the Philippine bolo knife. Used in cutting through jungles, the bolo is equally effective in hand-to-hand combat. Filipinos, young and old, have a long and outstanding score to settle with the Japanese invaders of their native land. Today, armed with native weapons, augmenting their modern equipment, they are eager to meet the enemy. Naval Air Cadets, 1,000 miles from the sea, learn the technique of flying with the fleet. In battle formation, they take off for their floating base of operations on one of America's Great Lakes. Formerly the world's biggest side-wheel passenger steamer, she's now the training carrier Wolverine. Student pilots land and take off from her 550 feet flight deck under conditions identical to those at sea. An inland carrier training 10,000 new Navy fighter pilots a year. Lieutenant General Patton, commanding the American 7th Army in Sicily, leaves headquarters in an armored car as United Nations forces continue to sweep northward in their drive to occupy the entire Italian island. Enthusiastic Sicilians welcome the Yanks with open arms, scenes that are repeated in town after town as the Americans press on to Palermo. Civilians, eager to cooperate, voluntarily surrender their weapons to the Allied authorities. Local officials are enlisted to assist in the distribution of much-needed food and medical supplies. Palermo, nerve center and capital of the island, is surrendered by the Italian commander who rides with American General Keyes into the city. Palermo's harbor, blasted by Allied bombers, is blocked to all access shipping. The occupation of Palermo by United States forces, a dramatic and historic moment for the people of Sicily. General Patton is greeted by members of the clergy as his victorious 7th Army moves in. For thousands of war-weary Sicilians, the coming of United Nations forces means freedom from fascism. For youngsters riding aboard the Army's famous Jeep, it's the dawn of a new day.
June 29th, 1943. Steaming boldly into Japanese waters, a powerful fleet of United States transports and warships moves across the Coral Sea. The capture of Rendova by combined land, sea, and air forces is now a dramatic chapter in the history of war in the South Pacific. How it was achieved is here told in films. A scouting plane is shot aloft. Planes and ships and men operating more than 5,000 miles from the United States mainland, taking the war to the enemy. Aboard the flagship, Admiral Halsey directs the strategy of attack. The objectives: Rendova, gateway to Munda, huge Japanese Army, naval, and air base on New Georgia Island. In the darkness before dawn, the Navy's big guns open fire. Daybreak, and from transports offshore, landing barges loaded with troops brave the dangerous reefy waters of the channel to establish a beachhead. Men tested and trained for amphibious assault carry out the mission with clockwork precision. Within 2 hours, the big barges have put ashore almost the entire striking force. Within 3 hours, regiments and battalions are reformed. Within 6 hours, camouflage jungle fighters strike inland, driving the Jap back into the mountains. The beachhead is secured. Huge mobile 155mm cannon, camouflaged and within the protective covering of palm trees, move into position to blast the main Jap base on Munda, 6 miles across the bay. Suddenly, through rain clouds breaking overhead, Jap planes from Munda come out to battle American fighters. American Army and Navy flyers brought down 101 Japanese planes that first day, 155 in 5 days. The Japs are beginning to feel the war of attrition. Following in the footsteps of his pioneer forefathers, the American soldier has been quick to learn the tactics of jungle warfare. Allied air forces play their part in the Battle of Rendova. Land-based bombers drop 70 tons of aerial high explosives on Japanese positions. It wasn't all easy sailing. The Navy lost 2 ships, but rescued most of the survivors. Many of the men had been in the oil-covered waters for hours. But when they got back and learned that 28 Japanese warships had been sent to the bottom, they didn't mind the ordeal they had gone through. There's not much rest to be had out in the South Pacific these days. Crews keep their ships in battle trim, on the alert. Men sleep wherever they can. Rendova is taken and secured. Ships move on to the next objective.
A guidebook to Great Britain, one of a series on many countries, is issued by the United States Army to promote a better understanding between the American soldier and his allies among the United Nations. Mecca for an endless stream of young Yankee soldiers, most of whom have never before been out of their own country, is London's American Eagle Club, one of 80 Red Cross centers scattered throughout the United Kingdom. With typical American curiosity, the soldier wants to meet everybody and see everything. He sets his watch by Big Ben, miraculously intact after the bombings. The Briton's traditional shyness and reserve rapidly melts before the friendliness of his American cousins. Comrades in arms always speak the same language. Just what language is being spoken here is probably the old story. Whether in a public house or a private home, the American soldier always finds a genial British host. A Yankee soldier and his newfound British friend, off on a holiday tour of London, learn more about each other's country and its people than can be found in a volume of guidebooks. The Americans learn that London's Hyde Park orators are still free to speak their minds. He visits the bombed areas with a deeper admiration for the English people. Outside Westminster Abbey, a boy from Chicago finds a replica of the Abraham Lincoln statue that stands in his own native city. Today, this great country, international crossroad of a world at war, remains firm and steadfast. The people of Great Britain salute their allies.
Firebomb was once a serious threat to our home front. But this menace was beaten by the people of Britain, who turned themselves into a great army of firefighters. Now, in order to try and frighten fire guards and stop them from putting out fires, the Nazis are using a powerful and dangerous explosive in some of their firebombs. Many of the firebombs that are dropped will still be of the old kind, but don't rely on this. Treat them all as the new kind. The new bomb is the old type firebomb with an explosive charge fixed on its nose. There is a time fuse which explodes the bomb at any time up to 6 or 7 minutes. The nose breaks up into many pieces, which can injure you, but do not burn. The burning part of the bomb is the same as before. Keep away from any firebombs that fall where they can't make a fire, in streets or gardens. Don't try and put sand mats on them. They may explode while you're near. Move at the double and use brick walls and big trees as cover, as the explosion is dangerous over a big area. But if a bomb falls in a house or anywhere where it can start a fire, tackle it. Use cover as much as possible. The ordinary brick wall gives good cover. If your inside walls are brick, you can fight the firebomb from outside a room like this. But remember, only brick walls give cover. Walls of lath and plaster are useless, though a breeze wall will give some protection. It's no use using a table or chair like this, and it's not safe to be above or below a room with a bomb in it. Ceilings and floors do not give protection, so don't try and catch the bomb as these fire guards are doing. If your inside walls are not of brick, tackle the bomb from outside if possible. Break the windows and pump in water in the direction of the bomb. Even if you don't hit it, wetting the room will lessen the risk of a big fire. Once the bomb has exploded, you can go in and tackle it in the normal way, with a Phillip pump jet. If bombs don't ignite, leave them alone and tell your warden. They can still explode. Now let's see how these fire guards deal with the new bombs. They leave the bombs in the street alone and keep well clear of them.
Many houses hit. One in that house, on the ground floor.
This man knows his walls are brick, so he tackles the bomb from outside the door with a small can filled from the bucket. Even if he doesn't hit the bomb, it helps to keep the room wet.
Mr. Rendova. How's it going?
Not so bad. Let's do it. I can help though. find out. We'll take over now. All right. Yes, it's quite safe. Good. Seems okay now. Look out, the big rough any minute now. Ah, now we can go in and finish it out.
The explosive charge makes the new bomb much heavier, and it will often go right through to the ground floor of a small house. If it does, you can often tackle the bomb from outside, pumping the water through the window. All members of the stood-up-pump party must take care to put the pump and themselves under cover, not forgetting bombs which have fallen outside.
Water on! Keep well down. It may go off any minute now. Okay, I'm going in. I'll get someone to see if there's any upstairs.
Well, that bomb's been dealt with all right. But if you're going to be equally successful, you've got to make plans in advance. It's always a good idea to have a talk with your senior fire guard. The spirit pump is still the main weapon against fire bombs. But if you haven't got a pump, small cans holding about a pint are a useful way of throwing a lot of water in the direction of the bomb from outside the door. Yes. Do it like this. Be careful only to expose your hand while throwing the water in. Don't on any account look round to see what's happening. Now you must be sure which walls give safe protection. Tapping them will tell you whether they're brick or lath and plaster. That, for instance, is lath and plaster and will be no good for cover.
Supposing you're not sure what kind of wall it is.
Well, try and find out from your local builder or borough surveyor. Failing any other way, if you drive 2-inch nails into the wall, you'll soon know if it's brick or not. If it's brick, they won't go in.
So you mustn't go into the room at all. It seems hard to get the water onto the bomb.
Yes, but you can tell by the sizzle when you're hitting the bomb. And any water that misses the bomb wets the room and helps to prevent burning. Doors must open wide, so that you can get water to any part of the room without exposing yourself.
Supposing you can't open it all the way. Say that it's got a piano behind it, and the room's too small to move it anywhere else.
Move it if you can, but if you can't, you can attack the bomb in this way. Direct the water over the door close to the hinge, keeping yourself behind the brick wall. You see, this new bomb means a great alteration in method. What were right ways of tackling fire bombs are now wrong ways. This way is wrong, and this is wrong. Regular contact with your warden and fire guard leaders will enable you to keep up to date with firefighting methods and gives you a chance to get advice on particular risks in your own home. The first task will always be to put out the fires. Remember the new rule. If a bomb falls where it can do damage, you must tackle it. But you must do so from behind cover. So long as we are organized and efficient, we shall always be able to adapt our methods to any new threat.